pointed at us because we were down here writing on the sidewalk in chalk. So now a year later, here we are again. And we have to look at this as a progression. We're not going to get everything we need all at once. It's a process. So I don't think anyone else is showing up, so I'll just go ahead and get started. Alex, get the camera going. Okay, yeah, go ahead and turn it on. Alright, I just want to thank you guys for coming out today. Like I said, this is a small start to a very big beginning, and I'm glad you're here. To the people that are watching this on video and watching it later, thank you for taking the time to watch this. But I'm here today because 2 years ago, what started with Occupy wasn't just about Occupy. It was about people that saw the problems of greed, the problems of oppression, all stemming from economic and social inequality. That was the beginning of what we can start safely at this point calling a new way of thinking, a revolutionary way of thinking. Not so much an outright fight, but how do we really start to think how we can solve these problems? And that's why I picked today to honor the memory of the beginning of the struggle and to announce that in 2007 I will be running for the mayor of Omaha. 2017, my bad.
There you go.
So I'll go ahead and start with some of what I had prepared. But the reason I run is because there is a severe imbalance in Omaha and a severe imbalance to life. And when we specifically talk about Omaha, it's no secret that there are two separate Omahas. There is the affluent part of Omaha where they have jobs, they don't have crime, the people are happy, and their needs are met. There's another Omaha made up of numerous types of people that, try as they may, can never get ahead because our city is not set up for them to get ahead. Specifically with Omaha, we have an imbalance when it comes to how we prioritize spending our money. Our current mayor, Jean Stothert, when she announced her budget, said that we were having a shortfall not due to the fire pensions or anything like that she claimed. She said the shortfall was due to increasing corporate subsidies that the people of Omaha were liable for. This is people like you and me that may have jobs, not have jobs, or they're not the greatest jobs, that have to give places like Union Pacific, Pacific Life, big companies, subsidies out of our money. It's not the city's job to prop up already successful businesses. That is money being taken from us that could be used a multitude of other ways for infrastructure projects, social projects, jobs, and it adds to the imbalance. Another twisted form of spending our money and twisted priorities is when it comes to homes. Again, we, the working, the non-working, the not sustainably employed, pay into developers to come in, take our homes and our neighborhoods and gentrify them, which means raise the rent, raise the mortgages, and that is geared toward one small segment of the population. Another imbalance, we have many, not just Fortune 500 companies, but extremely large, well-connected, profitable companies, but in the same city we have parts of town that are statistically third world nations. They don't have the jobs, they don't have the education, the police are corrupt, there's violence in the streets from the police and in the community, and this is part of the imbalance. And one of the things that we hear in Omaha a lot lately is that this is one of the best cities in the country for business, for people, for families. But what those rankings really mean are not from the people from the so-called lesser part of Omaha. Those rankings are there as lies to say Omaha is good, but for the business class. Omaha is a nice city for families, but one type of families. And the fact that we not only go along with this and with our laws, it plays into a lot of things that just add to social and economic imbalances. And it's not just about the people behind it, there's numbers behind this as well. Omaha just doesn't feel bad to people, it's also bad by the numbers. We have the third poorest black population in the country. We have the first poorest and least educated amount of black children in this country. We have 35,000 migrant workers who are undocumented and have to deal with things like paying rent with sex, working long hours and not getting the pay that we as citizens have the right to, and we're taking advantage of these people. Our city, the way we spend money, it's been not just by activist reports, but Forbes and credit rating agencies that Omaha is one of the next cities to go bankrupt like Detroit. In Detroit, they don't have a mayor or city council anymore. It's been superseded by a corporately funded, privately appointed, basically a king in the name of an emergency financial manager. The people of Detroit have lost the ability to make decisions for themselves, and Omaha is following down that same path. As I said, the imbalance with homes and how we view them is another troubling aspect of Omaha. We have the second highest, most profitable market for flipping homes. That means as soon as we put out a family on the streets, we incentivize the developers to come in and make a profit. And we gloat about this. We are proud of that we can make money off of putting people out of their homes. One of the biggest discrepancies in Omaha is our labor force. Our largest employment sector is healthcare and education, with about 60,000 workers. And those are mostly middle-class jobs. Our second largest sector, finance, insurance, real estate agencies, things like that, that's our second biggest at about 55,000 employees. And then there is a significant drop to 20,000 employees in the service sector. That's people like waiters, part-time jobs, restaurant workers, those types of things. Then there's another huge drop down to manufacturing. We have only about 18,000 manufacturing jobs. So the numbers alone dictate that Omaha is not set up for working people. It's set up for the robber class with their financial industries. So many people have money here, and that's, like I said, it adds to the disparity in what they say is a great city for everyone, but really isn't. And like the finance sector jobs, those are upper class jobs. And with the service sector jobs, those are underclass jobs. So when you look at the numbers, most of the people in Omaha, unless you're working for a Berkshire Hathaway or some other hedge fund type place or a bank, you're not accomplishing your full potential in life. You're basically working to serve these people. It's been under a major wave of gentrification, and this is touted as progress. This didn't start in the last few years. It started decades ago in the 60s and 70s when what many of you have heard of, white flight, started happening. People moving away from the inner cities to get away from the racial minorities or the socially different. And so what West Omaha is today is the leftover of all the people that didn't want to basically get along with their neighbors. And we've let their behavior and their mindset run the city. Gentrification may be good for Omaha's rankings in the business world, but what it means for the people is that neighborhoods that were once affordable for underclass people are no longer affordable. And with the increase in private investment comes the increase in policing. The police exist as the enforcers of capitalism. Any project that a developer or the city pushes forward, they're going to want to guarantee that that is a safe place. And for them to make it safe, they have to remove the problem elements. These are not problems, these are people. Another way that we have a twisted view on things is how we use our resources. Most of our energy comes from a coal plant and a defunct breaking down nuclear plant. We can go beyond dirty forms of energy. The technology is there for solar power, wind power, any other kind of renewable forms of energy that don't pollute, don't infringe on the rights of landowners or indigenous people. There's way better ways we can turn our lights on. And we have to start thinking about the little simple things like that as well. Now, the part of the reason why I'm running for mayor isn't necessarily because I think I can win. I'm doing it to force our point of view into the mainstream. I don't think our ideas are radical. They'll call us radical. Our ideas will be practical. They'll call us impractical. But what we have to stick to is going beyond bitching and starting to implement solutions. And over the last 2 years, we just had very high-profile bitching. I was in on it. I hate to say it. I'm glad this happened. But at this point, all of us need to start working on solutions to these problems or they will persist. Now, the difference in what I would offer versus someone like Mayor Stothert is drastically different. Mayor Stothert has pushed for an increased effort to privatize city services, city resources, and all this is stemming to do is feeding into that part of Omaha that is greedy, that doesn't produce anything, and we're letting them run the show. What I would propose if I was elected mayor is not a privatization of our services, but a municipalization. Things like healthcare and home ownership, or at least the right to shelter, those are rights. We cannot allow our city to have billionaires and millionaires, and there's still people without a place to stay, without food to eat, with no chance of getting a job. We need to shift the way we prioritize not just our thinking, but our spending and our actions. It's a flowing process. They all one feed off the other. Now, but as I said, solutions. So what would I propose that we do? The very first thing I would do as mayor is change our city charter. Our current charter is set up to favor the economically privileged and take advantage of the underclass of Omaha. Having a new charter where we codify people over profit will serve us far better than any amount of protesting or anything that we've done up to this point. We need new civic institutions. This includes schools, courts. We need new forms of jobs. We need a new economy. As I said, most of our economy now is based on non-productive financial service labor. One of the ideas I would have to counter this, to shift our economy to a productive economy, and it sounds very simple, and it would fulfill one of our needs, is to put the people to work growing our own food. We have the technology to do this indoors, and if we can control our food supply and our shelters, that's all we really need to control. Everything else will fall into place. We all need safe spaces, and that includes not just our homes, but we need institutions that actually serve the people and not serve wealth. Now, this may sound shocking to some people, but one of the things that I can see happening is that we don't all have to stay one Omaha. You try as we might, you can't change everyone's mind. Some people, no matter what you do, are always going to do what they want to do. But what we need to build is a society of consent, that the rules we have are agreeable to the majority and favorable to the majority and to all people. When we have a society of consent, you don't want to follow those rules, you should have the freedom to say you don't want to be subject to these rules. That's what we're doing now. Saying we don't agree with these rules. But if we want this right respected for us, we have to acknowledge that for other people that may have different philosophies than us, to go their own ways in how they want to sort their lives in cities. We can't be so egotistical to think that everyone is going to be for this. But in the meantime, what we can do until we reach that point where most people want the ideology of people over profit, security and sustainability, it's not about always the people elected to power, it's about people power. We can power our own institutions. We can educate our own people in our own ways. We can house and feed people in our own ways. We can go into the communities and affect the social change that we need to in our own ways and on our own terms. But until the day comes when we can turn this machine that's been working against us and either get it out of the way or get one that works for us, we have to continue to build communities of alternative networks of support that are based on what the people need and what's good for everyone. Now, to kind of finish up, as much as I've said and done over the last few weeks and years, even at this point, it's not just about me. One person cannot affect all the change. Even if I'm mayor, as I said, it's everything that has to change. It's the schools, it's the judges, the councils, the school boards. All these things need to be taken over by people that will put the will of the people before their own privilege. And so everyone here listening to this, everyone here that's watching this is for you as well. It's not just me that's running to be the mayor of the city. We're all running at this point. So 4 years from now is one day that we have to get ready for, but in the meantime, there's still plenty of work to be done. The problems of economic inequality still persist. The brutality with the police still persists. The imbalance to everything that we do with our lives is at stake until we can balance it out. And until 2017, we need to think that the time for all these things is now. And as of today, I may be running for mayor, but I'm asking all of you to run with me as well. So that's all I had for now. I'm looking forward to getting to work. Like I said, this may seem like a small start now, but the snowball will pick up, the momentum will build, and the people will ultimately be successful. Thank you. Woo!